Welcome back to All Adventures Great and Small. This is our drive to the bottom of the Grand Canyon via Diamond Creek Road. It all begins on the historic Route 66. Our route took us through the town of Selman, which is actually the town depicted in the Cars movie. So lots of cool things to stop and see here, especially if you have kids. They will love this part of the drive into Peach Springs. Once you arrive in Peach Springs, your first stop will be at the Hualapai Game and Fish. This is where you'll get your permit to access the land. The office where you get your permit is depicted in the box here at the bottom of the map. Then, once you have your permit in hand, you'll head up Diamond Creek Road towards the trailhead, which is the circle at the top of the map. Now, this actually runs through a residential area before the road eventually turns to dirt, and you're finally on the road to the Grand Canyon. The terrain begins quite tame, with the first real glimpse of the canyon's expansive walls coming a few miles into this 19-mile drive all the way to the bottom. After several miles of driving, you'll begin to see a more dramatic change in the scenery, with increasingly higher buttes and the road itself beginning to get a good bit rougher. It's definitely apparent though that the Hualapai people put in a lot of time and effort to maintain the road and grade it. We even passed some of this equipment parked along the way to the bottom, so it's clear they probably grade it pretty frequently. As you'll see later in the video, there are several water crossings that can definitely impact the road, so it is recommended from several sources to have a high clearance four-wheel drive vehicle. When we drove the road, it would have been easily passable in just a regular all-wheel drive SUV with standard clearance, but I could definitely see how after a big rain or without good grading of the road, you could definitely need a high clearance vehicle. Also, if you're going to make this drive in, be sure and prepare by having a full tank of gas, plenty of food and supplies, and no, you won't be having cell reception pretty much as soon as you get beyond the town of Peach Springs. But there is gas in that town, so that's a plus. Now, we did see a ranger on our way in, and we talked to him for a bit. He comes in the morning and then leaves in the early evening, but otherwise we didn't see anyone else during our drive. So definitely make sure you've planned ahead, because if you run out of gas or need help changing a tire, you could be on your own for a while if you miss that ranger. As we continue our descent down into the canyon, you'll see the vegetation along the road transitions to more prickly pears, yuccas, and a few chalas as we get closer to the bottom. You'll also see, as we get closer to the bottom of the canyon, the road starts to follow Diamond Creek itself, and that's where the vegetation really starts to get more green and dense. And that stretch closest to the bottom is probably where the most difficulty might be if you come here just after rain, as you'll encounter multiple water crossings and places where the water itself runs right across the road. So here we are now at the bottom of the Grand Canyon. There's a campsite to your right with picnic tables, shade, and even porta potties. But then as you continue on, you really encounter the incredible views that you're going to see when you get to the bottom. Here's the Colorado River, and you can see on one side it's smooth, on the other side the rapids really pick up. And you've also gone from 4,850 feet down to around 1,350 with an elevation loss of about 3,500 feet. And it's also noticeably warmer when you get to the bottom. So as you can see, the views really are just amazing in any direction that you look. We did get to explore the river area a bit, and those blue boats right there are actually from a river tour that I believe ends right here at the landing. We even saw some boats way in the distance, and I'm not sure what they were doing, but they had stopped off and they were looking around a bit. My guess is they continue on down the river. Now, we did see a rattlesnake, and that was super cool. This one was pretty small. Later in the video, we saw a much larger one. It didn't bother us and stayed away from us, but of course it did raise our blood pressure a bit for a few moments. So definitely watch out for the rattlesnakes and stay away from them, stay on the trails because they're definitely out there and you're in their territory. So after a few hours at the bottom of the canyon, we went ahead and made our departure around 5:30 in the evening so we could capture the sunset on the way out of the canyon. It was so beautiful seeing the sun change the colors of the sky and as it just reflected through the canyon. What an incredible sight. So definitely recommend if you can leave in the evening and get out before dark. That's a great time to do it. So coming up now is just some views of the canyon as we drive out, as well as some of the wildlife that we encountered. So a few miles into the drive out of the canyon, we came across this massive rattlesnake. Now, you could tell this one was a rather experienced snake and probably was really skilled at hunting. Now, we kept our distance and just zoomed in with our camera, and wow, it was a really fun experience to see this creature up close and even hear him rattle. Seeing this incredible rattlesnake on the way out of the canyon was definitely a highlight of our trip. And in contrast to the one we saw earlier, this one was definitely bigger and you could tell very well fed. On the way in, when we talked to the ranger, he told us about a very big Gila monster he saw just a few days prior sunbathing along the road. Now, remember, those things are venomous, and I could tell you just after seeing the rattlesnakes we saw and hearing about the Gila monster from the ranger, there are plenty of things out here that are ready and willing to bite you. So just keep your distance from all the creatures, great and small, and stay on the trail. So then after the whole rattlesnake encounter, we also discovered that apparently there's wild burros living in this area too.
Are you hungry? He's friendly or mean? Wanting food? You kind of charged us. What's your deal? What's your deal? Oh, he's gonna come up on my side. He's slowly thinking about it. Drive. There's three. There's three.
They look very... Why is everything so unfriendly out here?
It's the desert. You gotta survive.
This drive was absolutely amazing and unlike anything we've ever done. And it's really significant because we were standing in the bottom of the Grand Canyon, one of the most magnificent sights in the world, and you could even do it without even leaving your car. So if you're unable to hike to the bottom of the canyon for whatever reason, this is an opportunity to truly touch the bottom of this massive geological feature and experience something few ever will. The Hualapai people are graciously allowing all of us to have access to this land, so get out there and take advantage of this and explore the Diamond Creek Road to the bottom of the Grand Canyon. Well, thanks for watching. I hope this video was helpful. If so, please consider liking and subscribing, and also check out my other videos for more national parks, gear reviews, and more. We're on track to visit 24 parks in 2024, so there's lots more adventure to come.